I'm going to. So welcome everyone. Thank you guys all for being here to the 4 Phases webinar. I decided against not having the 4 phases here because yes, we're going to be here to learn today about the 4 phases, but what this whole thing is really about is cultivating 365 days of peace. Okay. This is really meant to get you guys prepared for the new year. 2024 is really going to be our year. I feel like we all had a really interesting year. I wouldn't say it was a bad year. It definitely wasn't a bad year, but it definitely came with a lot of lessons and a lot of ups and downs. And one of the biggest lessons that I learned this year is patterns and also like really studying how to be more productive in my life. And so, of course, as with all things, I want to be most productive in my life, especially regarding my health. So that's kind of where the 365 days of peace came from. And then I also, as some of you guys know, I broke my foot and it really caused me to reconsider all of my health goals and the things that I was doing to maintain my health while I wasn't able to work out and eat the way that I wanted and cook for myself while I was healing my foot. So this is really 365 days of peace. And what it is for us women is it's a woman who partners with her hormones, learns how to live more efficiently and strategically. I want all of us to live more efficiently and more strategically. We all are so creative. We all are so intelligent. We have so many skills. And it's never about not having those things. It's about being able to implement those things in our day-to-day lives. So 365 days of peace is here to help you implement these skills that you have so that way you can maximize the potential of your life. Okay. So most of you guys already know who I am, but my name, if you don't already know, my name is Imani Heron, and I am a licensed women's health coach. I specialize in period pain. I specialize in hormones. I'm also an herbalist. I'm a licensed hypnotherapist. I do NLP hypnotherapy. Also am a culinary chef, and I am an astrologer and human design enthusiast, and I do readings. So that is about me if you're new here. And before we begin and we just go and jump into, what we're going to learn today, I wanted to start off by doing a little orientation just to get you guys into the energy of learning and receiving. So I came up with these 5 key principles that we are going to start with to really set ourselves up for success. So wherever you are, I just want you to get comfortable and just do a little stretch. And if you can, I just want you to look around the room wherever you are and just notice what's around you. That way you can really just get into the presence of being here. Okay, because you guys are all here. You all showed up for yourselves. I'm really proud that you guys all came today. And then I want you guys to just thank yourselves because you took the time out of your free time to learn something new. And I was just talking to my friend about that. I was like, a lot of people don't actually take the time to learn something new. So if you're here and you're taking this time to learn something new about your body, that is the first step. So just thank yourself for getting through the first step. So now that we're going to begin this orientation, it's going to be 5 key steps that I want you guys to do to actually achieve cycle syncing. Okay. Because I can give you all the information for cycle syncing, but if I don't tell you how to utilize it, you might not learn it. So first things first is it's going to take 21 days to implement. I just want you to already give yourself an understanding that you might leave tonight and not know everything, and that's completely okay. But it will take you 21 days to implement this information. And so what that means is that I want you guys all today, right now, to commit to 21 days of no judgment. Okay. No criticism, no judgment, no asking yourself, is it working? No trying to monitor every little piece that you're doing to see if something's going wrong, okay? 21 days of no judgment. I want you just to allow yourself to respond and act accordingly. Um, in these 21 days, it's not really about if you're doing it right, if you're doing it wrong. It's really just going with the flow and trusting yourself without any criticism. Okay. A big part of why we can't accomplish things is because we're constantly criticizing ourselves. And then as we learn new information, and if we don't do it when we think we're supposed to do it, then we criticize ourselves again. So self-acceptance is the first step. And the first step is to commit to 21 days of no judgment. Okay. So that is the first thing out of the 5 keys. The next key is implementation, and that's doing the actual work. So what I have brought together to help you guys actually do the work. Sorry, people are coming in as I'm talking. Have you guys do the work is I have created a planner / workbook for you guys for cycle syncing. If you see this QR code, you can just use this QR code. It takes you straight to the planner. It's $10 off right now. And this is a planner for all of 2024. Each week, you're going to be writing down what phase you're in. But in the back of the planner, I'm going to be having hormone recipes, lifestyle practices, exercise regimens that you're also going to learn here too, to help you keep track of what you should be doing each cycle. Okay. So you're not just going to leave with learning the information. You're actually going to be able to get a workbook and a planner to keep track and to actually begin and start. I find that usually when I just keep things on the notes in my phone, it's only so often that I'll keep going back to it. So having something physical and then us physically writing things down is really what's going to help make this stuff second nature to when it just becomes a habit. The third step is to committing to an achievable goal. Okay. Wherever you are on your womb journey, if you have extreme period pain, if you don't have period pain and you just want to maybe sleep better, whatever your journey is, commit to a goal that's achievable for you right now. Okay. If you're used to having period pain for 7 days, just commit to maybe only scaling the period pain down for 2 days out of the 7 days. Okay. Just pick a goal that's achievable to you for the end of this program in the 21 days. Because if you pick something that's a little bit too extreme and you don't accomplish it, now you are going through a success and a failure type of thing. And you're like seeing yourself as not being able to accomplish something and failing, and then you might give up, versus seeing yourself as achieving something and then moving forward. So pick a goal, but you also want to pick a goal. Don't not pick a goal, because when you don't have anything to look forward to, you have nothing to move forward to, right? So you want to give yourself an aim and a goal that also keeps you inspired, but something that you know that you can attain and achieve. Don't make it too intense. Okay, so that is number 3. Number 4 is you're going to be shifting a worry thought into a positive memory. So throughout the 21 days, there's going to be thoughts of worry that come up. That could be related to anything that's going on in your life. It doesn't have to be related to hormones, but pay attention to when those thoughts come up, watch them. And instead of trying to think something else, just think about something that happened in the past that made you smile, that was a great memory, or anticipate a great memory in the future. The reason why we do that is because during the 21 days that you are implementing a new habit is the hardest time to stay focused. And the way that our body likes to go back to old feelings and old habits, it's to scare us into worrying about something that doesn't really exist. So I find that works best for me. Instead of trying to think something else, I just remember something really pleasant. Also, you can have like an anchor. Like I have an anchor memory that I hold on to. So if I can't think of something pleasant, I go to my anchor memory. And everyone will have their own anchor memory. Mine is just like a time, you can make yours up. So you can make up one where you're just like sitting by a window, but you're somewhere that you've been that was really peaceful, and you can just hear the waves of the ocean or maybe the trees, and maybe find an anchor place for yourself too if you don't have a certain memory that comes to mind. And last but not least, number 5 is we're going to be getting clear about our personal self-image, which basically is the sort of type of person that I am. We all have this preconceived self-image that we're this type of person, and we know that we're a type of person by the actions that we do on a day-to-day basis. And so I want you to kind of be aware of the type of person you kind of categorize yourself as being. And that leads us into our lecture. Because what we want to do is we want to adopt an entirely new view on your health. Okay. You're not the sort of person who doesn't follow through with things anymore. You're not the sort of person who doesn't show up for yourself. You're not the sort of person who would just ruin all of your results for a temporary satisfaction. Okay. I want you to redefine your self image. What and who are you the sort of type of person to do or to withstand or to not withstand? Decide that self image, especially pertaining to your health. So, to do that, there's 3 steps. And the first step is how you view your body determines the choices that you make for it. Okay. If you view your body as beautiful and as sexy and luxurious, you are more oftentimes than not going to feed it something that really kind of expresses that beauty that you feel. If you feel like you're just so fat and ugly and you're never ever going to have the best body, you're going to feed it things that define that way that you feel. Okay. So basically, how you view your body determines the choices that you make for it. So even if you're not in your dream body, I want you to view your body as this high temple, this high vessel who is worthy of having the best high quality things. Okay. And who's be taking care of herself very well. So I want you to just view your body differently. Your body functions in cycles, which means you're not going to feel the same every day. The first way to come into understanding of viewing your body as this temple is understanding that you are a woman, you're like the moon, you're like the changes in the waves. No 2 days will be alike. And this is so normal and it's so natural. There will be days when you have so much energy and you're running and you're yelling and you're screaming and you're having passionate sex. And there will be other days where you don't want to talk to anybody and you need everybody to get out of your face and you don't want to be touched. And this doesn't mean that on those days that you don't want to be touched, that something is wrong with you or that you ate something bad in your diet. No, this is just what it means to be a woman. We go through cycles, we go through functions. And that's what we're going to be learning here today is how do these cycles and functions happen? How do they impact our life? And how can I know about them so I can better plan and structure my life and also communicate to others what I'm going through? So that leads us into step 2, getting off autopilot, making conscious decisions to maintain a lifestyle that is healthy and balanced for you because you love yourself. Take control of your results. So a lot of the times we're in autopilot. I was talking to my mom the other day and I was like, it's not really what you're eating, but it's the ingredients that you're using. I'm like, if you would have used this organic this, and if you would have used this pasture raised egg, this whole meal could have changed. And she was just like, oh, I know. And then I was looking at her and I'm like, looking around, I'm like, oh my God, these are just brands that I've seen since I was a child. And I was like, you're on autopilot. You're just buying things because you've always bought that brand. You're not even looking at it. She's like, you're right. That's what it is. It's brand loyalty. And I'm like, yeah, but why are you loyal to them? And she was like, I'm not. I just didn't even recognize it. And so a lot of the times we're just doing things because we've always done them. We're not really paying attention to what we're doing. So this is about getting back to being aware. And that's how we take control of our results. Because first things first is that you're not a victim. You've never been a victim and you're in control of your body. Okay, this is your body. You're in control. You're responsible for what's happening and what's going on. And then step 3, which leads us in step 3, is be sensitive. I know there's this whole thing in this world where it's like you cannot show how vulnerable you are. You can't let people get too close, but that sensitivity is your feminine energy. It's your ebb and your flow. And it just encompasses more than just relationships. That sensitivity is those signals in your body telling you, we don't like this. I don't like that food, or that drink has too much sugar in it. And when we cut off all of those sensitivities, we kind of cut ourselves off from even knowing our body responding to us. Because when you get a headache, when you get a pimple, when this happens, when that happens, the body's trying to communicate that something's wrong. But we're so desensitized a lot of the time because we're taught to just, we're really we're really taught to be men. Turn off your emotions, right? Take the pill, desensitize yourself, go on autopilot, and also feel the same every single day. When you're paying close attention, you'll notice when you're irritable, you'll notice when you're hangry, you notice when you can't concentrate. And then you'll start think, what's the last drink I had? What's the last food that I ate? So now we are going to get into the menstrual milestones. So there are 4 steps, well, technically 3 steps that you need to get to on the way before we can even get to cycle syncing. So these 3 steps, some of you guys are familiar with me talking about them, especially if you've already done the hormone rebalance program. But if you're not, these 3 steps are going to be the basis of why your cycle syncing works so well, why you are so in tune with your body, why you can control some of those breakouts, why you can manage your weight, lose it, gain it, whatever you want to do. It's through by monitoring these first 3 crucial steps of the body. And I have put them in order from most important. Doesn't mean the third one is least important, but it just means that the first one is something that you need to be doing right now today. It's the first step, step 1, which is stabilizing your blood sugar. Okay, now I just want to say something about this. And what I want to say about this is that women have more heart problems than men. And studies have shown that women will die earlier because of heart problems. And this is due to high blood pressure, which is caused from high blood sugar. Okay. And the high blood sugar is really due to the amount of stress that we take on a day-to-day basis. And so we really have to wake up and nourish our body and keep our blood sugar stabilized all day long, because this is the first precursor of keeping your body healthy. Okay. The body also sees mismanaged blood sugar as stress. So you might be thinking, oh, it's okay. I can have low blood sugar. I can have high blood sugar. It's fine. No, the body is thinking you're fighting off a lion. So that constant stress in the body is what leads a lot of women to having high blood pressure as they get older, and heart problems and stress problems. See it in women all the time. It's causing you stress. Waking up, feeding the kids, going to work, not eating until 4 p.m., coming home, eating a snack, going to sleep, drinking the coffee, waking up, causing havoc on your system. I saw somebody say the other day, they were like, why does this matter? We're all going to die anyways. And I was laughing to myself because it was so true. We are all going to die. But the thing is, you guys, is that this stuff is not necessarily going to kill you fast. This type of stuff is where you're going to be old and you're going to live for the next 20 or 30 years of your life in bed, sick, on medicine, having to always be taken care of. So you will die, but you will die painful and slowly and very uncomfortable. So this stuff is super important. Stabilizing the blood sugar, paying attention to when the blood sugar is being spiked, especially if you have things like PCOS and diabetes. Now, monitoring your blood sugar just starts with the first part of your day. And that first part of your day, what that looks like is just eating a protein-rich breakfast. You have to have a protein-rich breakfast, okay? So we're going to go through this 3 steps. Mismanage blood sugar. So most of us will have mismanaged blood sugar because to actually monitor your blood sugar, it takes a conscious effort. So if you haven't been trying to do so, you're probably not doing so. The blood sugar manages our glucose levels in the body, which deeply impact our endocrine system, aka our hormones, aka the fogginess in your brain, whether you're thinking straight, whether you're getting period pain, whether you're getting migraines and headaches, whether you're breaking out, all is going to be starting with the blood sugar, specifically the glucose levels that are be going up and down throughout the day, depending upon what you're feeding your body. So a big thing that spikes glucose first thing in the morning is not having fuel to feed the body, and then the body starts to have to run off the adrenals, which is funny because the adrenals is the next key thing and the precursor for maintaining your health. So eating a protein-rich breakfast is super important. Now, we have fast burners and we have slow burners. Some people would call this having a fast metabolism versus having a slow metabolism. If you have a fast metabolism, it means that you tend to lose weight easily. You feel anxious and dizzy and headachy. Oops, typo, when you're hypoglycemic or you're hungry and you overheat with little exertion. If you are a fast burner, you're going to tend to need to eat the same ratio of carbs that you are going to need to eat as protein. So for example, you're going to have maybe for breakfast 2 eggs, 2 eggs, a piece of meat as well, a smoothie, and then maybe you might have a side of rice, right? Or 2-3 slices of bread. That's fine. You actually need more complex carbs because you tend to burn the glucose faster. So for you, fine. If you're considered a slow burner, which is basically you take a longer time to break down and digest food, then you tend to gain weight easily. You have a difficult time losing weight. You feel irritable or foggy headed when you're hypoglycemic or hungry, and you always feel cold, especially in your fingers or toes. This is me. I'm a slow burner. For us, we have to have less than a third a cup or less of carbs with every meal and having more protein than carbs. So the ratio is probably going to be like 70% protein, 30% carb. A third a cup is really small. So for slow burners, processed food, fast food, that stuff takes a really long time for us to digest, which means that it is getting stuck in the gut. We're not digesting as many nutrients, and that is going to be leading back to having the mismanaged blood sugar. Now, you guys have probably all heard this before, like, don't eat this, don't eat that, don't eat this. So just to simplify this for you, have a protein and have a carb and have a fat with every meal. But if you have a fast metabolism, you can have more carbs. If you have a slower metabolism, you need to actually cut your carbs in half. And then picking healthy carbs. The healthy carbs, all of you guys have those lists of healthy carbs, which are also going to be in the planner. Now, breakfast is one thing. And then after you're going to be having breakfast, you're going to be having lunch in 3.5 hours of breakfast. So in the morning, you'll wake up, you eat a protein-rich breakfast within 90 minutes of waking. You have no caffeine before breakfast. You're going to minimize the carbs in the morning, specifically because the morning is really your dumping time. You should be going to the bathroom, which means you want to minimize the carbs in general, even if you are a fast burner, just so that way you can make sure your system finishes what it needs to do. Eat lunch within 3.5 hours. Now, if you miss this window, okay, just because you ate breakfast doesn't mean your blood sugar is going to be balanced the entire day. If you miss the window of lunch, what's going to happen is your blood sugar is going to spike, and then you're going to eat something. And then instead of it being balanced, it's going to get low, and then you're going to crave something. So what happens is every time you eat something that spikes your blood sugar, you end up being hungry 30 minutes to an hour right after, because now your blood sugar is trying to make up for the glucose that it lost because it overcompensated in the body because it was trying to support that big fast food sweet meal that you had. So to balance your blood sugar, you're going to actually have to have something really small, like a little snack or a nut if you miss lunch. Eat something protein as quick as possible. And then after you eat, you will feel hungry, but fighting that urge to eat again because you're hungry now because your blood sugar has gotten lower. So at lunch, though, you don't want to miss lunch because you want to consume the majority of your calories at lunch. Have only one complex carb. So, for example, don't have rice and beans, just pick one to break down at a time, and have one good fat like avocado. That could also just be grass-fed butter. And if you do have digestive issues, take a digestive enzyme with your meal. And then for dinner, you're gonna eat you're gonna have a snack. You can have a snack within an hour or two after you have lunch, and then you'll have dinner 2 to 3 hours after your snack. And then you're gonna just create a meal for dinner that has protein and vegetables, avoiding grains and sugar at night. This is to balance your blood sugar. This is not an everyday thing, but if you are coming from a place, which all of us are, imbalanced blood sugar, 21 days, no grains, no sugars at night, just to help your body re-regulate. And then scheduling to eat dinner 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed. So this sounds kind of complicated, but all this is saying is that you have to have 3 meals a day. You have to have breakfast, you have to have lunch, and you have to have dinner. Why? For your blood sugar. Okay. You do not want to have mismanaged blood sugar. And you're going to know that you're having mismanaged blood sugar because you're going to feel irritable. And sometimes a lot of you won't feel necessarily hungry, especially because hunger is usually a sign of your hormones being a little bit balanced. So a lot of the times when people don't have balanced hormones, they're going to be not be hungry. They've lost their appetite. So if you go to my Instagram, I have this reel about snacks that I eat, and one of them is this brand true story. It has like 3 ingredients. It's just turkey slices, chicken slices, and sometimes if you're not hungry, you just need a snack on some protein. So that way you can keep your blood sugar balanced. Okay. This is so important. This is going to be monitoring how much stress you have if you're feeling stressful. Okay, before we move on to if you've been feeling stressed every day, before we move on to the next step, does anyone have any questions about managing your blood sugar? Does everyone understand what that means and how to accomplish that? Okay, Delisa, yes.
Hi, I have a question about chromium picolinate. So say for instance, like would that help to balance your blood sugar? Because I know that like say for instance, if you have a craving, it'll help to take away that sugar craving, but does it help with balancing?
What is it? Chromio, what is that?
Chromium picolinate. It's a supplement that's actually for blood sugar and also for diabetes.
Oh, no. So I'm not familiar with that. But if you're taking something that your doctor has recommended, you should continue to take that. What I do know that, and what I will mention later on in the class, is that the best option for you to monitor your blood sugar will always be food. And the reason why is because supplements can't replace that feeling in the body, not feeling, but the fact in the body that it's not a real food. And so you'll want to take that supplement, but you still want to make sure that you're eating meals those 3 times a day. And you'll know your body will start to feel those effects. Once you start doing this for a week and a half, you're going to start getting hungry at lunch. You'll notice, oh my God, at dinner time, I'm starving where I maybe wasn't starving before. So definitely don't take a supplement to replace balancing your blood sugar. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, Kelly.
Hi, I just want to know, do you have any digestive enzymes that you suggest?
That's a great question. And I do really like these digestive enzymes. They're on sale on Amazon. And you know what? I will add them to my Amazon store when we get off the call, which is, I'll put the link in here.
Okay, thank you.
And they're like $26. And that is really the best bet, especially if you notice that you have constipation. And constipation, you guys, is also diarrhea. Constipation is if it takes you longer than 20 minutes after you wake up to make your bowel. Okay. Even if you go later in the day, it's still considered constipation. Um, and there have been times on my health journey, not even that long ago, where I needed digestive enzymes because I was completely out of whack, doing too much traveling, and so I really do recommend the digestive enzymes. Kara says that she hears physicians do recommend chromium to patients who have high blood sugar and or pre-diabetic, which would make a lot of sense. I would definitely take whatever my doctor is recommending, and then I would also eat the food because the food's going to help a lot. That's what food is here for. It's here to nourish our bodies. So we don't want to replace that with food, but we want to be able to also support the medicine by eating at the appropriate times for our body. So that way we can keep our blood sugar managed throughout the day. And remember that you guys are using energy all day. Okay. Even if you're at home and you're working from a desk, you're using that mental energy. The energy is still being used in the body. Just because you're sitting doesn't mean the liver has stopped detoxing. It doesn't mean that the heart stops pumping blood. It doesn't mean that the limbs are still trying to drain toxins from your bloodstream. Your body is working constantly all day. It's working for you all day. Starving your body is starving yourself of it working in its optimal form. Okay. And when something stops working, you have to oil it, you have to nourish it, you have to feed it again. And that's essentially what you're going to be doing here. And it's so crazy, but I don't know what it is. When you become an adult, you just stop eating. When you're a kid, it's like you get all these meals. But when you're adult, it's like you just stop eating and you really have to remind yourself, hey, we got to eat. Okay, especially as women. This is not advice for men. Men do really well with fasting. Women, we do not. Okay, the next step is to nurture your adrenals. And we don't really talk enough about adrenals, but these are the two little guys who are literally helping you deal with all of the stress that you're taking on from day to day. Okay. The adrenals are most active between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., which is now for a lot of us. However, with chronic stress, you release cortisol at different parts of the day. So, what this means is usually from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., that's when all your energy is working. If your adrenals are working well, when the sun is rising, you're full of energy. You get up, you wake up, you start your day, you have energy, you move forward, you're leveled all throughout the day, you're having your meals. By the time the sun is going down, you're tired, you're ready to go to bed. You can survive if you want to, but the body is ready to slow down, it's ready to relax. For a lot of people who have adrenals that are out of whack, they'll notice that they wake up and they're really tired. Or for some people who have serious adrenal problems, they'll wake up and sweat, almost like a panic attack, because it's stressful to wake your body up. And then they'll be tired. They need coffee throughout the day. And then at 10 p.m., all of a sudden they get this wire of energy and they're just like, I can do anything. And they think that they're just a night owl when really they're not understanding that this is a sign that your adrenals are not functioning properly, because the peak release of cortisol should be happening between 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. If it's happening throughout the night, there is something going on with your adrenals, which is your hormones. So adrenal fatigue. This is something that we don't really talk enough about, but it is literally the consequence of living in a technology world, honestly. Signs of adrenal fatigue include acne, weight gain, insomnia, depression, increased susceptibility to colds and other infections, and sugar cravings. Ongoing tiredness, lack of vitality are also early stages of adrenal fatigue. So these are early stages of adrenal fatigue. These aren't even like hardcore stages, okay? So these things are not normal. If you are noticing these things, you need to slow down. Slow down. Some of the things that I do that really help me keep my adrenals balanced is I make sure that I wake up with the sun, and I make sure that I go to sleep when it's time to go to bed. I'm not trying to stay up until 4 or 5 a.m. Not all the time. Sometimes I do. But typically, I'm trying to keep a schedule for my body. I'm trying to keep a schedule for my cortisol and for my adrenals. Another thing that I do that really helps is I do not sleep with electronics in my bed. I usually don't like to have a TV in my room. I have one here, but I never use it. And also keeping your electronics just away from you. They don't even have to be next to your head. They can just be away. If you can have them in another room, great. If you don't have to use your phone as your alarm clock, even better. If you can wake up, turn off your little old-fashioned alarm, and then spend the first hour of your day, even better. What I've done is I've gotten these protectors on my phone and my laptop, and they're blue light protectors. Those are also on my Amazon store. That can help. So some of the internal stressors that we deal with are the low blood sugar. That's an internal stressor on our bodies, irregular sleep patterns, physical inactivity, which creates muscle tightness, and a lack of regular orgasms. This actually causes a lot of stress on our adrenals. And I had to put the orgasms on there because it's something that women don't like to talk about. Yes, the Amazon store is just above me, Amber. I put it right above us, actually, in the chat. But yeah, so these are some internal stressors. It is completely normal to eat. Okay? Low blood sugar, not eating enough. Okay? Eat protein. Don't just eat pastas and toast and bagels all day. This is causing internal stress to your body. Irregular sleep patterns. Not going to bed every day at the same time is actually, what's the word? I don't want to say that word because that sounds really extreme. It actually just creates a lot of dysfunction in your body, okay? Your body is functioning on a cycle and a rhythm. You know, like the liver is working between the hours of 3 p.m. and 3 a.m. The body is on its own rhythm. So it needs regular sleep patterns. And especially as women, as we get older, we need to sleep more. We need more rest. Okay. Sleep, go to bed if you can as often as possible at the same time. Physical inactivity. Physical activity does not look like running 5 miles a week. It just means getting up and walking. Don't just sit down all day. If you were sitting down all day, throughout the day, get up and move. Just take a walk. Do like a couple squats, stretch. You know, don't just sit in the same spot all day long. That creates muscle tightness. One thing that I like to do is like my little Pilates things on YouTube. Sometimes if I just been sitting all day, I like to do those. And I do like to stretch. And I love, 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 love to go to the sauna. I was just there earlier today and just sweat and stretch while I sweat and just move my body. And then regular orgasms. Look, you don't have to get it from anybody, but you got to learn how to pleasure yourself. And you do need to learn how to pleasure yourself without the toys. Specifically for your adrenals, you can use toys whenever you want, but not every single day. And we're talking about pleasuring yourself regularly, okay? Especially if you don't have a partner. Just because you don't have a partner, learn how to pleasure yourself. It's actually really good for your adrenals, okay? External stressors, opening bills. I put this on here because this shit is so stressful. And what I've been trying to do lately is, one, tackle my bills head on, not be scared to open them. And then two, finding a relaxing thing to do. When I open my bills, like, okay, I'm making it into like a relaxing ritual, because you might say you're not stressed, but the body is going to be responding to this stuff. Commuting, maybe if you can commute with a podcast or meditation music. Coping with a difficult relative, setting intentions before you do that, setting up boundaries for yourself. And social media notifications, constantly being triggered to look at your phone all day long. So the reason why these things are causing stress, internal and external stressors, and the way that they're affecting our adrenals, is that every time our body responds in a fight or flight response, it starts to shut off the digestive system, it starts to shut off the reproductive system, and it starts to pump adrenaline into your blood, because it's like, we got to win something, we got to fight this battle. And meanwhile, you just opened your credit card bill and you're sitting at home, or you just saw a post on social media, or you haven't actually pleasured yourself in months and you're feeling out of whack. Okay. So these things are important. And now we are in step 3, elimination support. I tried to make that sound as nice as possible. So, I said here, release support. Release support. So there are 4 pathways of elimination. So there's the liver, there's the large intestines, there's the skin, and then there is the lymphatic system. And that is step 3. This is so important. Step 3. I love this step. So we're going to go through the 3 processes of elimination, the elimination stations. Now, this is important because a lot of times people just think eliminating is just through one movement, but it's not. We need all 3 of these elimination stations to work together. Not only do we need them to work together, if you happen to have issues in one elimination station, it means you have a bigger issue in the other. For example, if you have issues in your skin, it's because you have issues in your large intestines and your liver. You cannot have acne problems without having those issues, okay? If you have issues with your lymphs, if you have thyroid, you probably already had the issue first in your skin, and you definitely have issues in your liver and large intestines. It's all connected. Because what can't come out of the liver and the large intestines will then come out through the skin and will then come out through the lymphs. So it's a process. They're all working together. Your body's so smart. It's a very intelligent thing functioning. So the liver's job is to convert fat-soluble toxins into water-soluble toxins so that your body can excrete it through sweat, urine, and your bowels. These include all toxins from food, environmental toxins, hormones, chemical products, and more. Studies show you can't supplement and expect these organs to function optimally. You'll know your process is working if you wake up in the morning and have a glass of water and go to the bathroom within 20 minutes. If it takes longer than that, you're constipated. So, fat-soluble toxins, when we wear perfume, when we eat junk food, when we're getting all the pollutions from the environment, all of those are actually fat-soluble toxins, which means they can hide in the fat cells in your body if they are not transformed into water-soluble toxins. So what happens is the body is trying to take all these fat-soluble toxins in daily and transform it into water-soluble toxins, so that way it can be excreted. If it is not being excreted, it hides. It hides in your fat cells, and then it tries to pick its way out of the skin. So the second process of releasing the toxins is the skin will try to release toxins with the sweat. Now, here's where a lot of people go wrong. You can't sweat. You've worn way too many perfumes, way too many body products, way too many sunscreens, way too many antiperspirants, and you can't sweat. What happens when you can't sweat? Well, then those toxins start to show up as acne, they start to show up as yeast and candida, and then they go straight into the lymphatic system, okay? The lymphatic system's job is to sweep up all the waste and the toxins, the excess fluid from your organs, and deposit them in the bloodstream, and then eventually transfers that stuff back into the liver. So now the lymphatic system starts to pick up all the stuff that wasn't released to the skin But instead of transferring it to be released, it starts transferring it back into the bloodstreams because now it's all backed up. Okay, so back to the skin. If you smell foul, if someone around you is smelly, it is because their pathways are congested. Okay, your skin is usually the last place these symptoms will show up. So if there's chronic skin problems, you're having a chronic liver and large intestine issue. I don't care what anybody fucking tells you. I don't care how many skincare facials you get. It is the liver. It is congested, and it is deeply congested for you. Everyone is different. Sometimes people can go, we just have different bodies. Sometimes people's bodies can process a lot of BS, and sometimes people's bodies are just really sensitive. You, my friends, might have a sensitive body. We get our sensitive bodies from our parents. It depends on how healthy they were when they were having us. So a lot of the times it's genetic, but whatever your case is, it's starting with the liver and the large intestines. Now, the lymphatic systems, like we just said, we'll read through this. It's the last step of the elimination station. It sweeps up the metabolic waste, the toxins, the dead cells, the excess fluid from your organs, and it deposits them into your bloodstream, which eventually transfers the liver and the large intestines. So it then does a final sweep. It goes back and says, oh, we missed a little bit more. So the body is miraculous. It is constantly trying to support you. It wants you to be a bad bitch all the time. Okay. But when you don't give it the right tools, it has no other choice but to fail. So you will understand you got some work to do. If it's blocked, then the organs become clogged and backed up too. They will also start to transport the germs and the bacteria, leading to more risk of infections. Now, you'll know this is happening to you if you constantly have allergies. Okay? If you have high blood pressure, if you have chronic sinus issues, and if you start developing some autoimmune diseases, just like lupus and things, the lymphs are backed up, which means it doesn't start at the lymphs. It's starting back here with the liver and the large intestines. This is not a game. When people tell me they have not went to the bathroom, I'm not laughing. I am highly worried about you, okay? Your whole goal needs to be making sure this is happening every day. And this is also why I took my colon cleansers off of my website. For those of you who have had them, it's because that is such a quick fix to the bigger problem that's happening. And because I wasn't able to work one-on-one with the people who are buying that colon cleanser, I took it off because you also don't want to, like I say here, just take a supplement and think that your organs are going to function properly. The organs are seeing that as a supplement and not seeing it as food, okay? The food is where you're going to maximize your nutrients. Supplements can enhance the nutrients that are going to be maximized from the food. So you do want to pair in and having that nutrient-dense food. So, I feel good in my body. I feel safe in my cycles. That is our next step here. As you guys can see, that's me with my little goddess tea. Feeling good in my body, feeling safe in my cycles. Now that you guys have the 3 main points to begin cycle syncing, okay? And now that you have the 5 key components, right, to mentally master how to get there, we're going to go through the 4 phases, which is actually really not even that difficult. It's so easy. It's so simple. It's going to happen so fast. You're going to understand. The menstrual cycle is comprised of 4 phases: menstruation, the follicular phase, ovulation, and the luteal phase. On average, each phase lasts between 3 to 7 days, with the entire menstrual cycle lasting between 21 to 35 days. Just like there are 4 seasons, you have 4 phases. It's completely natural to not feel the same way every day. Give your body some love and grace. How you view your body determines the choices you make for it. If you align with your cycles of your hormones, you'll make choices that respond to the cues your body is sending. So you are a 4-seasoned woman, okay? You're not just a summer girl. You're a summer, a fall, a winter, and a spring girl every single month. Can you just Do you understand? You are literally all of the seasons every single month. Understanding these cycles masters your life. You know, if you need to give a speech, you don't need to give that speech in winter, okay? Because winter is, it's cuddling. You're ready to lay up, have some hot cocoa with your boo, watch a movie, hang out with your girlfriends, right? But if it's summer season and your month and you want to be outside and you are so quick-witted with your words, this is a great time to put on a presentation, a great time to socialize. So mastering these cycles is literally going to master your life. So cycle syncing, step 4, the last step. Congratulations, you're setting yourself up for better health, nutrient variety, estrogen management, and a more efficient physical activity. Women who partner with their hormones live efficiently and strategically. This is exactly what you need to do to be successful in your career and every other aspect of your life. You're ready to improve the quality of your life. I really wanted to place emphasis on this is exactly what you need to do to be successful in your career. Because a lot of the times when we think about health, we're not thinking about that aspect. But no, this is exactly what you need to do to be successful in your career. Because the different cycles are not just affecting if you're ovulating, if you're not, they are affecting your emotions and how you're connecting with the world around you, which is so interesting. We are literally the moon. We are so cool. So we're going to go through all the phases. So I tried to put the moods so you kind of understand what the mood of each phase is. And as you go and you guys get your planner and you write down what phase you're in that week, if you ever forget, in the back of the planner, you're going to be like, oh, follicular phase is exactly what I'm doing this week. And I can actually pencil stuff in on my planner that I can do to help me maximize the 7 to 10 days that I'm going to be in the follicular phase. So you have a lot more energy in this phase. You might sometimes feel restless. It's a great time for challenging exercises, for trying something new. You're more positive. You're more creative. You can easily work better at stimulating projects, stimulating conversations. You're better at brainstorming. You can write out all your ideas. You can read a new educational book and really take it in. Listen to an informational podcast. You want to save your most challenging assignments for this week because you'll be your best at problem solving. Emotionally, you'll feel outgoing and upbeat. You'll attend social gatherings during this time and you'll try new experiences. You'll eat light and vibrant meals that are going to give you energy. So this is going to be your phase where you just really feel like yourself. You have a high positive self-image of yourself. I want to call this phase, what do I want to call this one? I'll call this spring. This is like your spring phase. Yes, you're a budding flower. Okay. You're receiving the sunlight and the praise from everybody. You're showing up to work and you're being a boss. Everyone's listening. You have a great attitude. You have a great mood. When people are talking, you're actually listening to them. If there's any parties or things going on during your follicular phase, you want to go. You're going to be great at networking. You're going to be great at socializing. Okay. If you want to do a challenging new workout routine, do it during this phase. This is when you can challenge yourself to do something new and you won't feel as insecure. If you want to maybe even go out on a new date, this is a great time to do that with a new person, right? Even doing something new on the date, like maybe you did rock climbing on this day and you've never done that before. I would say traveling long distances is really good for the follicular phase because if you go through any shit, you'll be fine. You'll be able to get through it seamlessly. So now you can kind of see how planning your life around the follicular phase is really cool. So I want you guys to just take a moment to think about some things that you would get done personally in your life during this time. And then you guys can write some stuff in the chat. I feel like for me this week, I'm going to write some stuff too, or I'm going to tell you mine, but I'll give you guys a second. What are some things that you'd be doing during this phase? How can you maximize this time? This phase, last time I did a 6.7-mile hike and I felt fucking amazing. And it was the best hike ever. And I had all this freaking energy and it was just like awesome. So Vanity says socializing, growing my business and team. Yes. So if you're growing a business, exercising, yes. If you're growing a business and you have another job, this is follicular phase is when you go, okay, during these next 7 to 10 days, I am going to be working on my business and my job. I have the energy to get both done. I'm going to be exercising. You know, I might do that mile run. Raven, applying for roles that I would otherwise think I'm not qualified for. Absolutely. Your self-esteem is going to be on 10 during this phase. Use this time to do my monthly deep cleaning of my house. No. But I will tell you, we're going to get to the phase where that's going to be good. The only reason why I'm going to say not to do the deep cleaning is because there's going to be another phase that's actually going to be even better for that. This is going to be about tackling new and challenging things. The deep cleaning thing is more like inward and like introspective. This is going to be taking on challenges. Unless that is a huge challenge for you, Rachel, then that's a yes. Networking for my business, period, Ronnie. Great time to do this. Michaela, I didn't see your main text. I think you have to respond to everyone. Kelly says, working with weights instead of just walking, trying a new creative project. Exactly. This is the perfect time to do like weight training where you're not going to feel as weak. Okay. So problem solving too, you know, if you know that you are doing something new, you're writing a new book and maybe you don't know how to publish it yet and you want to do the research. Follicular phase is the perfect time to do the research. Would this be a time to ask for a raise or negotiate a salary with management? No, and that's a great question because there will be a phase for that, okay? But thank you for that. Okay, so these are some good ones. I love all these. These are great. Let's move on to the next phase. Ovulatory phase. So people say this differently. This phase is phase 2. It's 3 to 4 days, but you only ovulate one day. I want to make that clear. You might feel the energy of this phase for 3 to 4 days, but you're only going to ovulate one day. Okay. That is the day where you can get pregnant. Ovulatory phase, you are fertile as F. Okay. If you only get pregnant, don't have sex during this time, wrap it up, or just self-pleasure, right? So vaginal discharge increases. It's clear, it's wet, it's slippery, it's stretchy, especially leading up to your ovulation day, which is peak fertility. After your ovulation day, your discharge dries. So the ovulatory phase starts the first day of the 3 to 4 days is your ovulation day. And then it's the days after that lead to after, okay? Some women feel a small cramp and have cravings or a headache. This can all be rectified with hormonal balance. This phase is all about connection. You will feel very horny, but you have a high risk of getting pregnant, so you want to use protection if you're not ready to have a baby. You can have important conversations during this time that are more receptive. Now would be a good time to ask your boss for a raise or have an important conversation with your partner. You'll be more magnetic and you'll look sexier. It's a great time for a first date or just to put more effort into your looks overall. Your mood is stable, so stay away from heavy carbohydrates at this time. Keep the carbs light and healthy. High energy workouts and group workouts are the best. So to answer your question, Michaela, the best time to ask for a raise or negotiate a salary would be your ovulation phase. And what happens during this phase, it's almost for women like our heart chakra opens up and we're way more receptive to our surroundings and to people in general. And it's like we can have way more clearer and concise conversations with one another during this phase. If I had to have a really hard conversation with my partner, I'd want to do it during this phase. If I had to have a conversation with my boss about a salary, I'd want to do it during this phase. And remember, we're all energetic beings. People know when you're ovulating. They just don't know you're ovulating, but they can feel this energy off of you, like connection, beauty, vibrance. If I had to do a photo shoot for like my wedding, I would do it during this phase. If I was going to get married, I would get married during my ovulatory phase. Okay. You look more beautiful. It's almost like you have this glow about you. I love my ovulatory phase. I usually schedule my hair appointments on the last couple days of my follicular phase. So that way, by the time, because it takes like 24 hours for my hair to be done because I have locks and I have to like put it in these little twisties and then let it out. So by 24 hours, by the time I'm in my ovulatory phase, my hair is beautiful and it's luscious and I just look so good. And if I have to take pictures, I do it on that time. If I have to go out with this guy, I'll do it on that time because I know I'm just going to be so magnetic and so cute and so fire and no one can resist me, okay? They are feeling that energy. So this is your ovulatory phase. This is your power phase. I want you to think about this phase like summer. So you just came out of spring, you know, you're feeling all upbeat, happy, and now you have entered into summer and you just feel free, like this image of this woman and she's just dancing and this other woman and she's just in her body and naked and sexy and she has this appeal. So this is this phase, okay? You are going to be making connections. Group workouts are best. You're able to connect with people from the heart center. So what are some things that you guys would do or schedule during your ovulatory phase? Let's write some things in the chat. Yes, a date night out, definitely. Definitely a date. A facial. Yes, you can do a facial, but I would not necessarily do a facial during this phase. And let me tell you why. There's going to be another facial for that, Raven, and for the spa day, you guys, because this is the ovulatory phase is more so when you want to be seen. Yes, Nikita, a public speaking event. Yes, you're able to connect with your audience really well. Yeah, in-person clothes shopping. Shopping would definitely be fun. You want to be seen. You want to do group things. You want to be out. Amateur night. Yes, Fulani. Okay, a boudoir photo shoot. Okay, yes. Anything where you can just be out, feeling good, looking good. I get what you're saying with a facial because I have in here like invest in your appearance. And let me clarify that. Obviously, you always want to invest in your appearance. But what I mean is like before you go out and before you get dressed, you make sure that you look good that day. You might put on your mascara. You might put on some eyeliner. You know, you might actually lay some baby hairs down that day. That's what I mean. There's an overall effort into your looks during that time. Like you don't just walk out the house in a sweatshirt. Yeah, I think an interview would be really nice during this time, Vandy. Definitely. Group or personal interview would be really nice to really connect with someone. I love that. So yeah, these are all great ideas, you guys. These are great ideas. Okay, perfect. Now we're into phase 3, the luteal phase. And this is going to be your longest phase. This is 2 weeks long, 10 to 14 days, okay? Your energy decreases. If you don't have hormonal balance, you will start to have PMS symptoms during this phase, like bloating, irritability, headaches, mood swings, cravings. Awareness, attention, and comfort are key right now, okay? This is a great time to rest. This is a great time to take care of your emotional and your inner self-care needs, like organizing your home. Who said organizing your home earlier? And I was like, no, we have a moment for that. Was that Rachel? Yes. So Rachel, the luteal phase will be a great time to organize your home, slowing down, less social engagements, resetting your priorities, taking baths, getting that facial, going to the spa, meal prepping. That's just some of the things that you can do during this phase. I'm in this phase right now. I'm definitely more so nesting. I definitely was at the sauna earlier today, and I've literally been at my house all day. I took a long ass bath today too. So during this phase, the first week of the luteal phase, you will have more energy, so you can do some of the high impact exercises. But the second half of the week, you really will have no energy. So this is definitely what I like to call your fall phase. Okay. Like, you might have some energy in the beginning, but by the end of fall, like right now, you just like, I am done. The year is over. Check me out, honey. We good. We're done. Okay. So the second half of the week, like this is that moment where I start telling people my social battery is dead. That's something that I've been really communicating lately to people. Is I have to look them in the eye and say, hey, my social battery is dead. And I find that I do that often during this phase. And so now that I'm aware of it, I can express it. I used to feel bad and be like, try to hang around, but then I would just drain myself. But now I can communicate and say, no, my social battery is dead. I need to go home. I need to rest. I'm tired. I don't want to talk anymore. That is this phase. Nutrient dense foods and complex carbs. So this is the phase where, yeah, you can have complex carbs. You can have pizza during this phase and it's not going to kill you, right? You can have carbs that are more complex. What is a more complex carb? Like a hamburger bun, things like that. You can have more so during this phase, but still nutrient dense. So try to balance it out. Like if you're going to have a burger from In-N-Out, okay, the meat is going to be fine, but the bun is not. So don't put any high fructose corn syrup ketchup on it, okay? So try to keep it as nutrient dense as possible. This is the phase that you'll feel most in a lot because it's 2 weeks. So sometimes when you're feeling those good energies, it's the first follicular and the ovulatory phase, and then you'll go into the slump for 2 weeks. Well, for some people, depending upon how deep their PMS is, you might feel like you're depressed, okay? Knowing that you're in this phase, I want you guys to start scheduling in your planners. And I do have some tips that'll be in the back of the planner. You know, things that you can do during this phase. So that way you're preparing to rest, you're preparing to rejuvenate yourself, and you're giving yourself the space and the self-acceptance to do so. You know, obviously the menstruation phase is next, and that might be an actual cause for a day off. But in this phase, it still is super important to honor that, like, you might not want to be around everybody. You might be moody. You might go in early. You might not have the energy to do the workout class. So what happens here is when we don't know that we're in the last week of our luteal phase and we signed up for this high impact cardio class and we do it, and then we pulled a muscle, or now we're in a shitty mood because we've overexerted our bodies. You know, that's something that we should have scheduled during our follicular phase, right? So also not physically exerting your body into a place where it's causing you harm by learning what and how to master these phases. So what are some things that you guys might do during your luteal phase? Naps and more naps. Absolutely. Yes. Journaling. Yes. Reading, allowing my inner homebody to thrive. Period. Yes, exactly. Definitely spa, long baths. Yes. Sitting at home, the windows open. Yes. Meditation, baths, Reiki. Absolutely. This is that moment to do this. This is when, you know, you're going to feel the impact of it the most. And, you know, if someone's trying to have a hard conversation with you, and if you don't have to have it in this moment, ask to wait. Can we hold this conversation off? Can we come? Can I schedule you in on my calendar? Because now in your planner, you're actually going to be able to know, oh, next week I'll be in this phase. So I'll be in a better equipped position to have this conversation. Would the luteal phase be a good time to have a yoni steam? Absolutely. Yoni steam, the topical liver cleanse, because your period is about to start. Recognize after this phase is your period phase. So this is right leading up to your period. So I have done a topical liver cleanse this week. I have did the sauna this week, and I also do like the self lymphatic drainage massage things while I'm in the sauna. I made Thanksgiving meal, so I have a lot of leftovers, like all that type of stuff you want to do this week. Yoga is a great thing to do this week. As long as you're not like doing like a super intense yoga, because you know nowadays they make all types of yogas and Pilates classes, but yoga and Pilates, absolutely something relaxing, stretching, moving slow, taking your time. Quick question. Can we prioritize the important aspects of each phase, being mindful about incorporating certain things? I typically weight lift in all phases, sauna in all phases, eat carbs. Okay, so prioritizing in each phase. So the follicular phase, we're prioritizing work, right? We're prioritizing energy, we're prioritizing ideas and brainstorming, and we're prioritizing physical activity, weightlifting. And we're also going to be able to do a lot of those things as well for the ovulatory phase, which is just 3 to 4 days. But we probably won't brainstorm, but we're able to now be more social. Ovulatory phase, you're going to think social, you're going to think heart to heart, one-on-one conversations. You still will have a lot of energy to weightlift. Luteal phase and your menstruation phase, you're not going to want to be weightlifting like that unless it's the first week of the luteal phase and you have the energy. Some months, those last 2 weeks, the 2 weeks will be draining. Some months it's just the last week that'll be draining. It depends on how you're feeling, and that's what we were talking about, being sensitive and checking in with your body and seeing what you can handle. I honestly do the sauna in all these phases too, because I'm obsessed with it. You don't have to specifically only do the sauna for the last phase, but say you pay $100 to go to Bathhouse to do your sauna. I mean, I would just wait for my luteal phase then for sure if I'm paying. But if it's like something that you just have on access, you can always do your sauna. And then the last about the carbs. So the only phase that I say you should be eating complex carbs in is actually in the luteal phase. So you shouldn't be eating complex carbs through the follicular phase and the ovulatory phase, and really not the menstrual phase, but let's get into that next actually. So the last phase is your menstrual phase. The big P. Okay, 3 to 7 days. So your period has arrived. Hormonal problems create period cramps, low back pain, and stomach ache. Not for the hormone rebalance girlies, though. Your body might feel relieved and relaxed. Self-analysis is dominant right now. You naturally assess your life and ways to improve. When in balance, a lot of women become more intuitive during this time and have clear thought processes. Notice in your life where you're needing more attention, then set up a plan and course of action to follow along for the next 3 phases. Nutrient-dense food as much as possible, even though you're having cravings. Rest and recovery are most important, so take a walk, stretch, or do yoga. I would not lift any weights during this phase at all. I would focus on taking walks, doing light stretching, and if I wasn't feeling like it, I wouldn't even pressure working out at all. Just making sure I'm moving my body. But during this phase is when now we take note of how the month has gone for us. Whatever that's happened, what needs to be adjusted, what we want to get done, because guess what? Once our period's over, once our period's over, we're back into the follicular phase. We're back into our energy. So you do want to take that time to nest during your menstruation phase, come up with a plan, because you're able to really go inward and see yourself clearly, so that way you know how you're going to jump start into your follicular phase for the next 7 to 10 days. So what are some activities that you guys would do in your menstrual phase? What would you guys do in your menstrual phase? What do I do in my menstrual phase? This is literally my TV phase. Yes, rest, exactly. Relax. Warm baths, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I do. Drink more teas. Yes, absolutely. The luteal phase specifically, which is the phase I'm in right now in my life, and the menstrual phase is when I'm like 3 cups of tea a day, like I'm loading it up. Meditate and pull cards. Absolutely. Yes, you have a higher intuition during this phase. Find comfort foods and relax. Absolutely. And I think there's something about looking forward to planning relaxation, right? That are not just vacations, but like actually planning relaxation in your present day life and your present day schedule is so valuable. So, what do you honor cravings in moderation? In the beginning of cycle syncing, I would honor cravings. But what I would do is I wouldn't see the cravings as an addiction. First things first is to break away from the thought that you're addicted to something. You're not addicted to something. It's just a habit that you do often, probably. You probably eat that food and you're probably just used to eating that food. So it's not an addiction. So I would honor first that I don't have an addiction. It's just something that I want right now. And then as you manage your blood sugar for the next months and the next months, those cravings will actually start to minimize. You'll be surprised. And then they'll be lesser and lesser and lesser, and you'll make new options and new options and new options. Okay, so now that you guys have your 4 phases, and you know how to conquer your year, and you're going to be getting your planner, let's go through some questions about the webinar. Let me see if I send this. Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
I think it was you were speaking to like adrenal fatigue. You talked a lot about um, regulating your sleep. Would you say naps are a disruptor to that, or are those okay too? Like if you need a midday 30-minute nap just to reset, is that okay? Or would it be more so get all your sleep at night and then in the morning you're just trying, or throughout the day, you're trying to sustain off of that
So
sleep?
are you having crashes throughout the day, like energy crashes?
Mm, it depends on the day. Like I don't drink any coffee or anything, but there are days, I think they call it like, I don't know what they call it. It's like that 2 to 3 p.m. time when you're at work and it's just like, ah, and
Yeah.
it's like, I just need like a 15-30 minute nap. I guess that's a crash.
Okay, so it sounds like that's more of a stress thing. Like I need to check out of this environment. So it shouldn't be a big thing as long as you're not actually super, super, super tired. If you find
Gotcha.
yourself getting like actually tired throughout your day, a couple of things are going on. It's definitely going to be either your adrenals and your cortisol is getting low throughout the day and it'll probably spike at night, or it's a stress response and your body is now shutting down because it doesn't like what it's doing anymore. For you,
Okay.
what I would say is to take note of now that you know your phases, I want you to take note of what phase and when you're getting sleepy. You might notice, oh, I'm only actually getting sleepy during my luteal phase. And then you'll say, oh, I am tired. I'm more tired. Let me give myself more breaks. Let me give myself a nap. But if you're getting tired in your follicular phase and your ovulatory phase, then that's something to pay attention to. What's actually making me tired? Maybe I don't like the work I'm doing.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, I see some questions here. Michaela says, how often should we be drinking the goddess tea? So I don't know if you guys know this, but when you get your goddess tea, you're going to receive a guideline that's sent via your email with recommendations. Now, when you have your tea in the beginning and you're healing through a certain womb ailment, I'll always say be consistent as possible. Consistency doesn't mean every day, but it does mean 4 to 5 times a week having 1 cup at least. This way, your body assimilates and gets used to having those nutrients so it can start functioning normally again. And if it's not used to having those nutrients, having it consecutively or consistently for at least the first 90 days, it's going to bring you back to a state of equilibrium. Once you're in a place that I'm in where you've just been having it so often, sometimes I'll go weeks without having my goddess tea. So you just want to get yourself to a state of equilibrium. And I would say do that for at least 3 cycles, which is about 90 days. Ashley says, thanks for this webinar. So invaluable. Gotta go. No problem, Ashley. Thanks for being here. Vanity, I'm the same way, and I have the tendency to get extra sleepy while driving. So I tend to nap during the day. Okay, yeah. You should not getting sleepy while driving. Definitely maybe getting some of your hormones tested too, because you definitely shouldn't be falling asleep. But also give this a try. Start managing your blood sugar, start managing your adrenals, start paying attention to your elimination systems, and that will naturally give you more energy. And then if you're still falling asleep at the wheel, then we really got to like figure something out for you, girly, because we can't have you doing all that. Does anyone else have any last and final words? This was so informative. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. I'm so excited to begin 2024 together. There's a lot of new content coming out. So this is going to be the major piece. So if you were in this course, thank you for being here. Thank you for learning. Start implementing this stuff right now. And then when you get your planner, I want you guys to really just start keeping track, taking notes, and you're going to find yourself able to get a lot more done than you were ever able to get done last year. And so we're not going to have another one of those, oh my God, I don't know what type of year I was going to have. We are going to set ourselves up for success. So thank you guys all so much. I should have your email, so you'll be getting this. It'll probably be a link to a drive, and then you can download it from the drive. But I love you guys, and I will see you soon. Thank you, everyone. Oh, these are such sweet compliments. I'm reading everything. Thank you, Simone, Shar, Ayana. Period. Jay, Delisa, Vanity. Thank you guys. Michaela, Ronnie, Gabby, Kamaya, Aisha. Thank you guys. It's okay, boo. Yeah, you can, Brittany. You will be receiving the recording. So don't worry, because as long as you've signed up, you'll get the recording.